Hey everyone, welcome to TAP episode number 20. It's the 20th anniversary of the Arrow Panel. With the 20th being weird measurements of time. Loose weeks. I'm your host, Buzzard, aka James McGarren.
I'm Dalton Rumberg, aka Blue Chows.
Jeff Lloyd, Funga.
Roger Clark, at Roger Clark on Twitter.
And we have a special guest with us tonight. It's
Chris Chike, aka iamchris4life.
Thanks for being here,
Sugoi.
Chris. We wanted to have you on the show for a very long time.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining us. I was away last week, and I was very sad to miss the Freestyle Takeover episode because it was amazing. If you guys didn't listen to last week's episode, you definitely gotta check it out.
Absolutely.
It was one of my favorites, which is why I was so sad that I was out. I was in Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show. No DDR machines this year.
Well, DDR is a consumer electronics.
It is, yeah. I didn't see any of the Vegas crowd either at the Dave & Buster's over there, but they have a pretty nice machine.
Did you get pelted with basketballs?
I did, yes.
There's like eight Papa Shot
the
machines.
basketball thing next to the DDR.
Yeah, it's right next to it. It's like the really big basketball machines too.
So
it
you got
encourages
people like
you to throw
throwing
really
the ball
far
as
away.
much as they can, and then it bounces everywhere and just
And
right.
seriously, there's like 8 in a row.
Yeah.
That's a travesty. It's a
I was
travesty.
playing a 16 and just got hit in the head. I was just like, okay, I'm done playing here now.
Oh man.
Worse
That's-
than hockey pucks.
Yeah, that's worse than hockey pucks and piano keys.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally, yeah. But on that machine, I saw the machine records were just totally taken by Zero. Who was at the Irvine tournament. A really good player. Do you remember what his real name was? I forgot what his real name was. Xero.
Yeah, I did know at one point.
Well, shout-outs to the...
I should know, but my mind is blanking, so.
Well, anyway, so yeah, the freestyle episode, I want to talk about it just briefly. I know there was a whole episode about it, but I just want to say how it's amazing that DDR Ace is like bringing them out of the woodwork too. It was like, it's really cool to see just like a whole other way to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Like just coming back to life.
There were some freestyle people at D&B Saramonte last night.
No way.
yeah?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Are they practicing? For the
I'm
tournament?
assuming they're practicing for the tournament.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh, okay. So I guess there's something to look forward to then. So that's not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 27th of January 2018.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so you guys should definitely check it out. And this weekend, we're going to be at Genesis, which for the Extreme Random Caprice tournament.
In Oakland.
In Oakland, yeah. I know we're going a little out of order here, but I just want to... I'm super excited about all the DDR stuff coming out.
And we'll be streaming it.
Yeah, on the SF Evolved Twitch account. So look out for that. There's 2 machines that are going to be used for the tournament, but only one is going to be streamed from. So at a certain point, we'll cut the second machine and do like whatever it is, top 8 or top 4, or whatever it has to be on the streaming machine. That way everyone can see the cool matches. We'll see how that goes, though.
Yep, should be fun.
Yeah.
Come say hello if you're going to be in the neighborhood. So anyway, Chris, why don't you give us a little bio, just a brief bio about how you got into DDR to begin with, just in case nobody knows who you are.
Impossible.
Okay.
It's the standard format.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Chris Chike. I'm 26 years old. I started playing DDR in January 2005, so 13 years now. Really excited. I got really excited when DDR Ace came out a year ago, and I really got back into DDR ever since Ace came out. So it's been a fun time.
Did you take a break between when DDR kind of died in the U.S. versus when Ace came out?
Yeah, I didn't play as much when I went off to college. And during high school when Guitar Hero was a big thing, I didn't really play much DDR then. So it was kind of like...
Are you good at that game?
Guitar Hero?
Should we go into that?
Yeah, totally.
definitely.
Like, I don't know how far. Like,
So wait, high school is when you got into Guitar Hero?
yeah, so November 2006, or it was 2007, I don't know. But there was a span of like 2 years that I was playing, 2 or 3 years that I was playing Guitar Hero on the PS2, Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3.
The good ones.
Yeah, and before they fell off.
Yeah.
So I was playing Guitar Hero, and then I wasn't really playing much DDR, and then when I went off to college, I wasn't really playing much of any rhythm games because I had to focus on getting my education and stuff. So,
Stay in school.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't
Yeah.
have any obsessions in college?
Oh no, I mean I still played like I think I played rhythm games here and there. I played Stepmania, but nothing like super serious. Nothing I went to compete for or anything.
Oh, I see.
I guess there were some PA tournaments. There was like the Harrisburg tournament where I would just go for fun
And still
compete
win,
there.
probably.
No, I don't think I ever won the Harrisburg tournaments, but
Oh, that was for,
because
that was
that
for
was in the
ITG.
group, right?
ITG,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
So
Did you ever get into ITG?
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was between,
Pandemonium Quad?
Yeah, actually,
He has 2
ITG
songs left.
ITG started back. Oh man, it was I think 2005. I got it for the home version because it came out. ITG 1 came out for PS2, and so I was playing that alongside my console versions for.
I remember watching
DDR.
Chris's videos, him like using his couch
As
like,
a bar.
as a bar.
Oh, yeah.
Playing
Yeah.
on the Cobalt, playing ITG and home version stuff.
Yeah, that was totally just makeshift. Because I saw what people using the bar, and I was doing no bar for a while, and I was like, I really want to like do what the experts are doing. I want to do what the pros are doing, and I was like, how am I gonna do this? And so like, oh, I see this convenient little couch thing. Not a couch, but it's like a big chair, and I was like, this is like the perfect height.
Nice.
And so, and then the rest was history from
Plus,
there,
it was really
so.
plushy too, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like the.
If only,
And then-
if only bars on DDR were just like giant couches, giant chairs.
My
behind.
mom started to get upset with me because I was starting to ruin the chair because my palms would get sweaty, and so there was like divots where my arms would go. So she had me like put a towel over. So in some of my videos you can see like a towel over the edge of the.
I have that problem with my car. It's like I get in there and I'm like drenched in sweat so often that like
Oh yeah, I do that too.
I know. I
bring a towel over my.
I think we all owe our parents like a huge debt of gratitude for like picking us up at the arcade after we're like
Yeah.
super sweaty when we're teenagers. Like, oh, those must have been some bad rides home.
Oh yeah, my mom complained about that too.
Yeah, because you're from like Michigan, Wisconsin,
Minnesota.
one of those
Yeah,
cold
one of the
states.
M's.
Cold
Midwest,
states.
yeah.
And so like you probably didn't have DDR ITG very close.
It was like an hour and a half away.
Oh
The
my
nearest
God.
extreme machine.
Goodness.
So like every other weekend, my mom would just like drive me up there, and like she'd spend the whole day on her laptop just like doing work while I played at the bowling alley for like 6 hours.
that's honestly really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back, that was an amazing thing for her to do for me.
And
So
damn,
many
I always
times,
thought like
yeah.
my mom was a hero for driving me like 20 minutes to the far arcade. Because for a while, like the close arcade didn't have In the Groove.
Yeah.
So we had to go to the far arcade,
Oh.
which is like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, my dad actually did that too. He was a writer, and so he would write about stuff that was like just happening around where he was, and so he kept going to malls and arcades all the time. So he wrote a long article about a mall. He got like really into the mall and like interviewed everybody there, and wrote an article about DDR too.
God bless parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you were so far from a DDR machine, how did you get into it?
Oh, well, I started on the PS2. My neighbor actually had it. I think I was just over at her house with my cousin one time, and we were just playing it. And I think I remember playing Dark Black Forest on DDR
Oh,
Max.
yeah.
It was such a
Nice.
banger. It was such a banger. It was like my favorite song. I was like, this is so fun. I think I was playing it on like light mode or something. And I was like, this is so fun. And then like eventually I think I borrowed it from her like for a day or so, and I was like, I need to get this game myself. So
Do you remember what your first PS2 mix was?
yeah, Extreme, the US version.
Oh, Extreme US?
Yeah.
So sorry.
It was interesting.
Got kicked the can.
Yeah, it did have some bangers.
You know, it had Maximizer,
Max
it
had,
had
Yeah,
yeah.
that was good.
YMCA. We just talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Oh, I forgot
Is that the one
about
that had
Move your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Trois
It had into the twilight.
and Stupid Barber?
a stupid
Yeah,
Barbara.
it has Believe, or Do You Believe?
Yeah.
By
The
Cher.
Cher cover, yeah.
Oh, we didn't have Dirty Vegas too, or what?
Oh,
No, that
Days-
was-
Days
that
Go
was-
By?
no, that
Go
was-
West. Remember that?
Yeah,
song?
Go
So it was
West.
I think about Go West all the time. For how many times I've heard the song, yet how much of my brain it consumes. It's like not proportional at all. It's a really bad thing. But no, Days Go By was on Max 2.
Max 2.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I had that at some point too.
Yeah, that was my first mix.
I think it also had Bizarre Love Triangle.
It did.
Oh, yeah.
It had Like a Virgin,
A lot of good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just remembering all these
Simply
things
Being
now.
Loved,
I haven't played
Somnambulist
all
by
these songs in
BT.
so long.
Yeah, Simply Being Love, Somnambulist or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, that song!
Very-
I used to listen to that song so much.
It
It's
pops
so
the hell
good.
off.
I
Too
haven't
bad
heard
it was a
any
bad
of these
mix.
songs since like I was playing that game.
We can listen to them right after
Chris,
the show.
right after this, I'm gonna throw in Extreme on my PS2 over here on this TV, and we're gonna go
That's
ham.
a trip down memory lane
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Let's
We're gonna
do it.
go off.
We're gonna unlock memories from 3 years later. You guys remember that?
Is Memories a locked song?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, apparently.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke about unlocking memories, like going down memory.
Paul Terry's?
Oh no! Oh no! I
no,
wasn't
literally.
actually. I was literally talking about the fact that Burger King had a
Oh
campaign.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
yeah.
So this is actually really fun history for people who don't know. Like there was, I remember Extreme had like a bunch of songs on it, but Memories was not there for a long time, and people then dumped the data from the Extreme disc because people had ripping tools for PS2 games, and they found Memories on the disc, and everyone was like, how do you get it? Like, no one knows. And then, like, 2 or 3 years after Extreme actually came out, US home version, Burger King had a campaign, like, where they had, like, DDR toys and stuff that you get. And one of the things they gave out was an unlock code to unlock memories in a 3-year-old home version that sucked.
I
It's just
mean,
the most miraculous thing that could ever happen.
that Burger King campaign was awesome. There was a Burger King right next to the arcade that I played at, and they were like, they had all their stuff, they had all the decorations everywhere, and I was like, okay, I need one each of each toy.
Yeah.
And so I have all of those at home.
You still do?
And yeah, they're sealed.
Oh,
and I was also like, can these posters that you have, these clings on your windows, can I just take these? And the guy was like, sure, I don't care. So I have those too.
That's amazing.
Dude, put that shit on eBay.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah, it's just gonna stay within the family.
Yeah. Anyway, good times.
memories.
Good memories.
Okay, so you were there,
Good.
and then you went to college, and then you got back into DDR when you moved here.
Yeah, I went to college. Oh, so when I graduated from college, I went to be a software developer for GE in Wisconsin, and that's where I ended up playing on this DDR Extreme machine that I lived 5 minutes away from, and then I eventually bought that Extreme machine, and then that's when I started like grinding all the
Going off,
the
as they say.
Oni
Going
course.
off.
Yeah.
Putting a towel over your head and doing
Yeah,
max 300.
blindfolded,
Yeah.
Legend Road. I just went off on Extreme for like a year.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then there was a span of like a year or two, like leading up to Ace, where I didn't really play much DDR. I actually got into Magic the Gathering. I was playing that for like a year or two, trading cards. Yeah.
And you write a lot of sim files too. Also.
Oh yeah, I did that on the side for fun, just writing charts, releasing them to people, and then hopefully people have fun playing. As much fun.
You can plug your packs.
Yeah, I like your Alive
Oh
chart.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Live's good.
I am Chris 1 through 5. Yeah.
I play your Neon FM chart quite a lot.
Oh
Actually.
yeah,
Redline.
I made 5 Neon FM charts back when Neon FM was relatively new. So
I played Tenku no Hana the other day, your chart.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so hard, but I love it for some reason.
It's so extra.
It's really extra, but for some reason it's like, it's like if I just want to play every kind of thing in one chart, like streams,
like every skill
jacks,
set.
like just whatever. I
Brackets,
just
slow down.
I play one chart. I'm very efficient with my time.
Oh wow, I gotta try this.
It's like a really hard 13,
Yeah.
but it pops off. So also City Never Sleeps. I play like every single time I play.
Oh,
That,
God,
that's one of
yeah.
my favorite
Oh,
charts.
such a
And
good
I play
chart.
Nanahoshi.
Oh yeah,
Is
no-
that, is that the?
yeah, I play that. That's
Oh.
those are my 3 favorite charts that you've made.
Do you remember
so.
when I discovered Nanahoshi at Best of the West? Do you remember that?
Yes,
It was
yes, yes.
playing
On
and I was
Ubeat,
like,
right?
what?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, Jeff, what is this song?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, it pops the fuck up.
Yeah.
I need to.
And I was probably like, dude, I'm running a tournament right now. Like, ask someone else. Oh man, yeah, that chart pops off. I love that
But
scene.
yeah, that's how I discovered that song. And lo and behold.
Anyway,
So anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about was we've been saving it for a while, but there's a documentary that came out from Polygon, and 3 people here were involved in the making of that documentary. It was Jeff, Roger, and Chris, and it was a really awesome documentary. I thought it was in the making for a long time.
A long time.
like
Too long.
like almost a year.
So do you guys want to talk about how that came to be and whose idea it was and? Like there was a crew that came along with you to the last KAC in Japan.
Yeah,
Roger can start it
so
off.
basically when KAC was about to happen, it was like several months ahead, and I was like, someone has to do something with this, because this is the first time that Americans are going to get to play in the KAC tournament, so like, there's got to be like
It's big gaming.
there's got to be something. So my friend Nick, who worked at Polygon, I was like, you gotta do this, right? Like you gotta find out some way that you can make a documentary or video about this. I just basically bugged him like every day for like a long time until somehow they came up with this plan to hire someone to do the filming, and I would supervise the situation. And so I went there to KAC when Jeff and Chris were competing and met up with the documentary film lady who was like just like a kind of like a world-renowned kind of like a human interest story documentary person. And she was great. She filmed all kinds of crazy stuff with great angles, and the footage in Japan was really good. Konami had they just kind of let us do whatever we wanted for some reason. I don't know why.
Press badges.
Press badge. Nice.
The cameras are like up on the machine, like right
like
there on the machines.
They let us behind behind the railing that no one else was allowed behind.
Yeah.
And I just stood there like being like feeling cool. But I mean, Irene, the lady who filmed it, she was just like all up in like, you know, everybody's faces and stuff, and I'm assuming it was probably distracting.
No,
Wait,
I didn't notice. Yeah.
Well, were you on right side or left side?
I was on left. I was on one player.
Okay, for the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the side that Irene was on, and she was doing some filming. But I was playing on 2P, and on my side there was like actual Konami people that were doing the same thing. Yeah. So I saw the arrows like directly in front of me, and like just to the right, like normally where there would be like emptiness or like some guy like on his phone waiting for the next game. And he shouldn't be there, but he's there anyway. There was just a giant camera in my face. So yeah,
it was like I didn't notice. Like I think you mentioned that the camera was like
she was just like right up in there.
And honestly, I was like tunnel vision. Like I was so focused in the zone. Like
that's the DDR mindset. That's the Chris Chike way.
Honestly,
way to do
did not even notice.
So that's a little tip for you if you're going to compete at KAC. You have to be prepared for people standing next to the machine with cameras in your face.
Yeah, you also have to be prepared for the audio of the game to be wildly out of sync with the audio coming out of the speakers.
Oh, geez.
Not wildly. It wasn't actually that bad, but...
I didn't notice that either.
Oh, man. I definitely noticed. Like, as soon as I hit, like, the first note in Trip Machine, I was like, this is different. But, I don't know. I guess I noticed some strange things that distracted me a little bit more.
Well, it seems like you adjusted pretty well for Trip Machine.
Well, I guess so. I don't know.
So yeah, that was a cool part of the documentary. It was Jeff's PFC on Trip Machine evolution.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, it kind of like, it sort of profiles Jeff and Chris and Hudson.
Hudson a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, who's also there, and it kind of ties in like the return of Ace and like letting Americans compete for the first time, like the qualifiers, and it goes through... like then it goes to the tournament itself where it kind of focuses on Jeff's PFC in the semifinals and then like onto the finals with Chris and stuff. But it did a really good job of like capturing like profiles of people and also like the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The
rise of DDR in America.
Yeah, and like the whole atmosphere of like the tournament and stuff.
Totally.
Of KAC. Like it covered a lot of things. It's like 11 minutes long. Which is it fits a lot into that 11 minutes, and it doesn't ever like feel boring. Like the pacing of it's really good and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool. You should go. It's called Becoming the World's Best DDR Player.
Which is referring to Chris.
It has a nice thumbnail of Chris. I don't know how you feel about that thumbnail.
I mean, I love it, but once you actually like watch the video, you know it's not just about me. It's about like all of us.
Yeah, that kind of goes into how they wanted to frame it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like an attention grabber, like you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
it's to get you to click on it.
Yeah, like that's what I do for my job is like coming up with like video headlines and stuff like that, and like that's how you would frame something like that. But it is kind of unfortunate that it. I mean, I don't know, unfortunate, but
I get what you mean,
it focuses on you, but it's actually about like more than that. But that's kind of the angle.
I think they focus on everyone like equally. Like,
I thought that was great.
I wish they did focus like Hudson gets a small little shout out. Like he has like 1 or 2 clips that are about him. There was a lot of footage. Like we just I keep thinking about how much footage we recorded that never ended up getting used.
Oh yeah.
So like we had like Hudson got interviewed just as much during KAC me and Chris did. But like he had very little footage in there. There was actually a really cool moment when we were doing some recording right after KAC where like Paul like slid in next to Hudson.
Paul wasn't in there at all.
And so there was because I thought that was a really cool narrative too of like the day of the qualifiers ending, Paul got knocked out by Hudson last minute. And Paul came anyway to the tournament and had a great time. And I thought it was like a really fun thing to see them like sitting down next to each other, even though like, there could have been this animosity between them of like, you took my spot, right? But instead it was like this, they just like got mic'd up together and just started talking and like being, Paul was just like, I'm so, no, you deserved it, man. Like, you did a good job.
They definitely should have included that because like all the comments and everything and the reaction from the video was that the community is so wholesome.
Yes.
Like, everybody gets along.
It was a very
so
wholesome
well.
video.
It's like very much everybody raising each other up.
Yeah, the YouTube comments anyway. Facebook comments are a little bit...
I can't even bear to look at Facebook
I mean,
comments.
honestly, for YouTube comments, they're pretty good.
It's pretty good. Well, it's because Polygon's community, like the core Polygon community is actually, like, I'm a big fan myself, so I was excited to see this on Polygon as a platform. Like, their core community of people that actually like the site are really good. It's just a bunch of the idiots that the article on Facebook happens to show up in their feed or whatever that they decide that they want to comment on it.
It's a bad site. Don't go there.
Yeah, the blue site is awful.
Blue site.
But yeah,
They're all blue.
Yeah, except YouTube.
YouTube is red.
But yeah, it has two.
The links are blue.
I just looked it up. It has 233,000 views.
Dude, it was really crazy. There was like 50,000 views one day, and then the next day it was like 150,000. I don't know where all this traffic came from.
Somebody
There's
said
a streamer.
There's a streamer
Well,
that
no,
like.
That wasn't
There's
the
no
reason.
way Trihex could just like put. I mean, I'm sure he had a pretty big effect, but there's no way that
100,000 people
demanded 100,000 people to go watch this.
I don't know. It must have just got picked up by a YouTube algorithm or something.
Which is great.
I think it just shows up in everyone's like recommendation. Like once it gets enough momentum, it just starts showing up in recommendations.
That's awesome.
And then it just like snowballs.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like I've never been in a video that had. You have millions and millions of views on Guitar Heroes. Like what is it? Through the Fire and Flames, 100%, right? That was like 40 million views.
Yeah, we didn't really even talk that much about that, but Chris has a world record, a Guinness World Record for Guitar Hero
in 2009. Yeah,
and that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it seems like you're trying to downplay this.
Oh no. I mean, no, not really.
If you're curious, you can look up Chris Chike on Wikipedia.
Oh yeah,
is that video still up? Because I know it got taken down for a while.
I think it got like blocked.
Yeah.
Because it was using Through the
Copyright. Fire
and Flames, and apparently Dragon Force was cracking down on like all their copyright infringement stuff, so it got blocked. But then it got unblocked, so
that's great.
We're good. So
I would just message like the lead singer and just be like, you really should unblock this. This is important.
Like it was monumental.
Yeah,
it was like one of my greatest achievements. I like was not gonna quit until they unblocked it, and then they eventually did.
That's good.
So, what else was cut from the documentary? I'm curious.
Well, we had like Roger got interviewed. I thought Roger had a lot of really good things to say. Like I snuck in for some of what you were saying, and so this was afterwards. So kind of the timeline. We had a bunch of recording that happened at KAC, and then a little bit afterwards, they Polygon requested that we went, like me and Chris went down to San Jose with Roger to play a little bit more, to do some like B-roll footage of us like warming up and talking to the community and all this other stuff. And we also did a couple more interviews, trying to anyway, in that karaoke booth that with really loud tubas.
Yeah, there were people like I don't know how this even happened, but like we tried to do the filming of the interviews in this karaoke room at round one, and the room next to us was they were like singing karaoke to this tuba music.
It was literally just a bunch of tubas. There were no other instruments.
I'm just like, okay, like what is this? What planet is this from? So we left and we went to Zion and we did it there.
Yeah. And so you got, like, there was a bunch of stuff that you were saying about, because one thing that I thought was really cool about Roger's involvement was that he was sort of like the unbiased, like, third party. Like, me, Chris, Hudson, Paul were all, like, in some ways really, like, a part of KAC. Mm-hmm. And I think Roger was really able to frame, some of the stuff he was saying was, like, really framing, like, what does it mean for, like, Jeff v. Chris? Like, what does that story tell in terms of their strengths and their weaknesses and that sort of stuff? And I was just, like, really hyped when I kept hearing this stuff. and I wanted it to be in the doc because it helps really like frame how the competition was for the both of us in terms of like playing to our strengths and going in cold and like things like that. Like you really touched on all those parts.
I mean, I can't complain that they cut me because I mean, they're like Dalton said, they fit a lot of stuff into the 11 minutes, and if that's all the time they had, then I'm fine with it. But yeah, I think there was a lot of stuff that I talked about, like, you know, at the tournament, the Chris versus Jeff mentality. I think Chris has a different mentality, like going to DDR than Jeff does, and I think that there's a lot to be gained from. There's a lot of life lessons that you can gain from looking at both approaches. Like the Chris approach is like you take, you know, this set of things, these set of songs, and like obsessively learn them to the point where like you just like absolutely memorize and like perfect every single aspect of it, like to the point where you're basically unchallengeable. And there's the Jeff mentality where it's like being very good at the kind of like the entire range of the game. And it's like in order to succeed at things in life, you have to do both of those things. And looking at examples of excellence in both of these categories allows you to sort of like say, oh, I see what they're doing here, and I'll kind of do the Chris thing with this thing I'm doing right now, but with this other thing in my life, I'm going to do the Jeff thing. So that's kind of like a distillation of what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I really like that, actually.
Yeah,
that's
that too.
Yeah, like that's. I kept getting like goosebumps listening to Roger talk because I was so excited to think about this being
honestly,
in the
you
doc.
guys are my heroes, and I wouldn't.
Thanks, Roger.
Yeah,
That's very nice of you
I
to say.
wouldn't have put as much effort as I did into trying to make that happen if that weren't the case.
That's really nice of you to say. Thank you.
It definitely is fascinating.
Yeah,
I want to write a fiction book, actually. You got change the names and
A little fanfic.
graphic novel.
change the game to
But
maybe make it about chess or something.
Yeah, like sort of like a rule of thumb or whatever with like video productions. Like sometimes like you need an hour of footage for every minute of final product. So it's bound that a bunch of stuff is gonna get.
There was a lot of
get
other
cut.
stuff too, like
and they have their editors there and however they want to frame the story, and like sometimes those things are like really interesting, like little tidbits, but you just can't fit them into the narrative for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Nick and I spent like a ton of time just like watching various revisions of this and being like, okay, no, they got this wrong, or like, you know, we had to, you know, I got to choose the music for the whole thing, which was really cool.
That's why we heard egoism.
That's why we heard egoism at the climax. Feelings won't
Feelings of Fame was a really good choice.
But like there were, you know, it's like people who aren't obsessed with DDR aren't going to notice certain things. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. So I just want to first of all thank everyone who was involved. Jeff and Chris and Hudson and Nick Robinson and Irene Herrera and Daphne M, who did the filming locally here in the Bay Area. She is a Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker.
Wow, which is really crazy to
Which
be
is
like
just-
being interviewed by this very famous person.
And, and everyone else at Polygon who edited the documentary. So.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, really happy. With
Oh, it was actually edited by Matt Simmons' like brother, right?
Yeah.
So Matt Simmons is a DDR ITG music game player from the East Coast, and yeah, he was like, oh yeah, by the way, my brother edited this.
Yeah.
So he works for Vox Media, not technically Polygon. It's weird.
Same own company. Yeah.
Owns it, but so it's kind of like another connection there too.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Sorry.
I was gonna ask if there was any funny stuff that was cut out from the documentary.
I think there was this moment like when we were
pretty
doing
serious
the interviews with Jeff, Chris, and Hudson at like after KAC. There were some moments that we captured where all the DDR guys, aside from them, were on a couch and they were just joking
Oh
around.
yeah, that was so good. Do you
And
remember that?
Which part?
Remember like afterwards we were all just like sitting down in a circle and talking about like what's the hardest 18, and everyone was just like giving their opinions and ribbing on each other.
There were some good Dr. D quotes in there.
Oh yeah.
This is basically
I should
the
try and
Arrow
dig that out.
There was the one part where I was like, I think I said something about Luke Swagman, like my hype man, brand manager.
Oh yeah.
And I listed off like I don't even remember what they were.
Social media manager, like hype man.
I really wanted to see that. I don't even remember what I said. But
Oh man, there was a
would've
lot of
been
funny stuff.
to hear that.
We need a producer's cut.
So, like, one of the comments that really stuck out to me, because when I first heard that they were gonna do like a documentary, like Polygon's interested in doing a documentary, I was like, holy shit, like hour long, please. Like, I don't know, like that's just because I think of documentaries you watch them on Netflix or something, and it's like it's an hour long. Right?
Isn't that one of the top YouTube comments? Like, we need a 90-minute.
Yeah, exactly. That's like when I felt like it was like I felt really good because I was like, oh, cool, an hour long because we have all this footage. There's so much. I know there's 1 hour footage for a minute, whatever, but there was a lot of good stuff that I think could have been added. And unfortunately, it's not how it works, but that's fine. And so I'm like, I sunk down and like, okay, it's 11 minutes long, fine, it'll still be really good. It was really good. And then that comment brought me back up of like, maybe there's a chance, maybe they'll like revisit for, a full-length thing, because...
Yeah, I think if there's gonna be like a 90-minute documentary, it's gonna be more than just KAC. KAC will be like...
Well, yeah, this really was. Like, that's what I thought was cool about the story, was it wasn't just about Americans getting to go to KAC and like the results and everything, but a lot of it was the resurgence in America, and that's kind of what the article touched on.
Oh yeah, there was an article that went along with the video that was on Polygon.com where I think they interviewed you guys separately for that. It was somebody totally different.
Yeah, right. It was a freelancer, Joseph Knoop.
Yeah.
Who, I hope that's how you say K-N-O-O-P.
I gotta assume that's how it
Okay,
is.
Knoop. Yeah. I don't know. But he reached out to us and said like that Polygon, commissioned him for a like an article to go along with the documentary, and so he called me and we talked for like an hour and a half. Was it probably the same for you, right?
Yeah, he called me too. Yeah.
I think he also called Hudson, so it was like the three of us that got interviewed specifically for that piece.
And and so I think that the piece is called like The Rise and Fall of DDR in America.
The Rise, Fall, and Return
of DDR in America.
Yeah, great title too.
Which is, it's great. And it's just like, that could have been like, if this were a 90-minute thing or a 60-minute thing, that I think would have been more of the story. Like, basically starting at Ace return, or like, well, starting at the beginning, but really highlighting Ace returning, leading, like, KAC being the climax of that story, and then sort of, like, the resolution is, like, we're all hanging out at the arcade afterwards, like, all hyped up from this energy of, like, seeing this really cool event that happened, and it kind of, because it did reinvigorate a lot of the community, seeing KAC happen, and, like, all watching it together, and viewing parties, and some people came out to Japan to watch us, live.
There were a lot of people who were there. I mean, I didn't know a lot of them.
Yeah.
And, like, people from France and stuff were there. I was like, okay, that's
wow,
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's gonna be even better this year.
I think that hype transferred over, and that's why so many people are going this year. Like, I think
there's like 30 Americans going.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's too bad you guys missed the, I had a viewing party too, and man, everybody was just so excited the whole time. It was like,
we had like American flags.
I love seeing the footage of people's watch parties afterwards.
Oh yeah,
that was so epic.
The best part was Sappy too. He was alone in his apartment. He was just yelling at the TV.
Oh yeah, that was really that was really fun. Yeah, I watched every single video that people sent me of like, or picture. Looked at every picture that people had of their viewing parties. That like felt like the super unifying moment of like the American community. Because I as cheesy as it is to say, it's like it didn't matter if you're like a DDR player, an ITG player, like you all came together and you watched this thing and everyone was cheering on the same people. And
I liked Oliver kind of summed it up really well. He said, "This is what sports feels like."
Yeah.
I finally understand what sports feels like.
Man.
So what are you guys most looking forward to at KAC this year?
They both have a very funny expression on right now. They're both kind of looking at each other.
For those who don't get the picture, they're sitting like literally at opposite ends of the table here, so they have like direct line of sight to each other, just like.
And they're both grinning.
We're eyeing each other down.
So the rules have changed, right?
Yeah.
So what does it look like exactly?
So Chris is already in the finals. Like he's the only person of the 7 that are going to qualify to just like be in the finals. Doesn't have to compete in the semis. So everyone else, the others, so 3 players from Japan, 1 player from Korea, 1 player from the US, 1 player from Asia, have to play in the semis. 2 people. Did we actually talk about the rules last time? Because did the rules come out?
I don't think so.
I think the rules came out within the last week, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is good. I'll go over the rules.
Yeah, do it.
So there are 6 people in the semis, the 3, whatever, I just said that. Then 2 of them are going to get to pick a song, and it's random. So it could be 2 people from Japan. It could be me and Fefems. We don't know. So that's a big question mark.
I think doesn't everyone submit a song and then they just randomly select two songs?
Or they're gonna pick people and then those people pick songs. I don't know exactly how it's gonna work.
People or they pick songs.
But 2 people of the 6 will get to pick a song.
Yeah, I think that's my least favorite aspect of it.
There's randomness.
Yeah.
Because it really sways how it can go.
Yeah. My biggest thing. Well, okay, I'll finish the rules first and then I'll talk about some feelings, which won't fade.
I was gonna make the scene joke.
Okay, so then this is now cumulative EX, just like it was last year. So your sum of EX score from the 2 songs that you play, everyone's gonna play the same 2 songs. Whoever is in the top 3 gets to move on to the finals and meet up with Chris. Now those 3 people are the ones that get to pick a song this year. So unfortunately Chris does not get to get a song pick. Presumably, defending champion. Maybe they thought he didn't have to qualify because he was auto-qualled, so that's a disadvantage or something, or he doesn't have to play in the semis. Maybe they're just thinking of it in terms of a narrative of final boss, this is, the ultimate winner, so, we have to give the underdogs a chance to make a comeback.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a more interesting story, right?
Sorry, Chris, but I actually kind of like that. It sucks for you, but it makes it more interesting. Because you probably pick egoism again, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense because why give me even more an advantage?
Yeah.
Well, they could give us all a song pick. I feel like I'd like to move the tournaments in that direction of everyone who plays gets to pick a frickin' song.
I don't know. It just seems like there's this theme of trying to get other people to win.
Yeah.
By inviting more people from Japan and giving them more chances. So it probably has something to do with
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly.
But it gives you an opportunity to it makes you have to defend yourself more. You can't just rely on one song. I mean, obviously you did well enough on the other songs last year that you won, but you have to be prepared for those other whatever other people are going to pick.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the Yakuza rigged KAC so Japanese people will win this year?
No, it's not going to get rigged. I mean, there's a pretty high likelihood that 2 Japanese players will pick songs in semis just because there are 3 of them and not 3 of any of us.
So what if there's somebody that comes by with a bat? Watch out. Be careful.
Wait, hold on. I want to finish the rules, though. So the interesting thing, which is much better this year, the thing they actually did right this year, was the finals are ranked EX score. So you will likely get something like 4 points for being first on a song. It won't be the sum of your EX score. It'll be they're going to take the relative ranks of everyone's scores and then assign points based on those. So it means that one song can't dominate the finals. If there's, song, basically with cumulative EX, the gap between, the differential between what you get and what your opponents get is much more important than winning at all, which means that some songs based on step count or freeze count or, certain tricky sections or something just matter more. So this is kind of trying to level it off and say, every song matters the exact same. If you beat someone by 1 perfect, it's the same as if you beat someone by 100 perfects.
Yeah, and that'll really switch it up because there will be less, people will rely less on 19s to try to get the highest disparity between EX. So now all the 17s and 18s are going to be fair game now.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I really have to know them all.
Yeah, it used to be easy to at KSC. I know the 2 of us were thinking last year. It's just in the finals, it's just going to be 19s, 18s.
Because we need to win by the most.
Exactly.
And so it was really predictable.
Yeah,
but now it's
by just step count basically.
Yeah. Basically, I know I looked at DP, just how much step count is there, how many freezes, and what's the reasonable sort of spread on what people can get and by how much, because I'm good at some of the 17s, but I couldn't pick them because if I just beat someone by 10 perfects, but then I get owned by 50 on their pick, then I'm screwed.
Yeah, so it opens it up for a lot more different song picks.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. So kind of on that note, how are you guys prepared? I don't know if you want to share trade secrets, but how are you preparing for this year, Chris?
I'm just playing everything that's 17 plus.
Yeah.
Just refreshing my memory on all the songs. I'm not focusing as much on 19s as I did last year, I don't think, because given the rules, they're a little less. I mean, they're still likely to show up, but it's not 100% guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed this year.
And I can't afford to just have have the 17 go by and like not know it that well and then lose. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely brushing up on all the 17s and 18s.
But at the same time, you've also still got world records on like all the 19s recently, except like OTP, right?
Yeah. Well, Fefems took back Valkyrie to me.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, I'm not focusing on 19s as much, but I'll definitely keep practicing them though. I'm gonna be practicing everything 17 plus. So.
I think Fefems is scared from your Paranoia Revolution. I think he, like, I would think, you know, in another world, I would guess that he would pick Paranoia Revolution again just because he could probably win it, like, every time, but not since seeing you practice it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it, but maybe, like, I mean, he'll still have the upper hand on, like, most. Like, if he could still guarantee a win against you and the third person, then maybe he would still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that introduces like sort of a whole other aspect. Like if you get like second place on every song, like you could still win over people who got like first, but then like fourth on another song.
Yep. That's what's like. Everything has changed this year.
Yeah,
it's really.
I haven't even really fully thought the strategy out yet because I don't even know like how many points like what. Yeah,
we kind of need to figure out like Chris did me a favor and emailed. We sort of came up with some questions to try to ask Konami. We're trying to get some clarification on the rules because one of the things that was in the rules are in Japanese, of course. So I tried to translate them as best I could into English. They, for the most part, make sense. There's one line that's really, really confusing about whether or not it's like the same difficulty cannot be selected. And it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean that like if we're doing this like semifinals thing, if I pick Trip Machine Evolution in the semis and I make it to the finals, can I pick it there?
But if it's not played. But
yeah, what if it's if it's played and if it's not played? Like if my song pick never comes up, is it fair game? Do I have to come in with 2 song picks? Because regardless of what happens, like the semis are just like I need a song for the semis that I'm going to submit and a song for the finals that I'm going to submit. They're going to ask me before the tournament even starts, you know? And so it's like, okay, now I maybe have to pick my second best song in the semis, hope that I do well enough that I win so I can save my best pick for the finals. Mm-hmm. Like, so there's that high risk, high reward thing. I could try to make it, you know...
At least, like, to the finals.
Yeah, make it, like, pick my best thing and then make it to the finals, but then not have as good of a shot when I get there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
there's,
I
like,
didn't think of that, yeah.
Like, yeah, so it's a lot of... Like, things have been turned on their head quite a bit, and I would love if we could get a response from Konami about some of the questions we had, because it does definitely matter. Like, I need to know if I need to practice 2 things or 1 thing a lot.
And you're wondering if Endemion's going to be in there?
Yeah, there were quite a few questions. I was wondering if Endemion's going to be picked. That's a huge thing. Like, both the expert and challenge. Like, if those are selectable, that's huge.
Yeah.
Another thing, there was that clause about the tiebreakers, which that's also...
Oh yeah, that's one of the weird ones for you.
That's very important.
Yeah,
very important.
So with this ranked EX score, you know, there's more of a chance that you can tie.
Because the point values are much lower.
Exactly, like they're discrete they're always discrete, but like 2300 versus 2250 is much different than like I get 1 point and Chris gets 2, and then we swap on that. And then we're both
so
tied.
We could end with like both have 6 points or whatever.
Exactly.
7. Yeah.
And so one of the lines is like, if there are any ties, this is really weird because the line, this like addendum, was in both the semifinals rules. There was like a block for it, and then it was also at the very end where they talked about like this machine is going to be like a white cab and whatever. And it said like any ties will be broken based on the qualifier round. So. Which Chris didn't have to play. Yeah. And...
Like, I played the qualifiers under the condition that whatever I did not matter.
Yeah.
So, like what if I had not, like, put up a qualifying score? Like, what would my tiebreaker be?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if that line is actually for the finals, which is unclear because it's in the semifinals block and then in, like, the all rules block. It's like the way they structured it is kind of weird. They, like, repeated themselves, but they called it out in a specific section, but not in the finals. I don't know. But, like, you know, they may have a separate rule that's like, if there's a tie in the finals, then, you know, you both play Endemion. Like, you know, until someone wins.
They're like, oh, we'll just wing it.
Yeah, like, we're not actually sure, and it does matter. It will, like, the sort of strategy in KAC is not the same kind of strategy you would use in a regular tournament where you have, like, card draws and vetoes and all this, pad choice and other things. They sort of decide a lot of that stuff for you for KSC, but this is the biggest venue, so it behooves everyone to do their research and ask these questions.
Well, thank you for doing the research for us.
Yeah, well,
attempting to.
We'll report on the next tap what the results are.
They're always kind of slow to respond and
well, a different time zone.
They're really far away.
Well,
I mean, it's been a week.
It takes a long time for our email to fly carrier pigeon style across the Pacific.
Did you send him an email in English?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other question was how many points? Like first place gets like 4.
So
we don't know how many points.
Yeah, I think that question's a little bit easier just because I've seen them do it for 2DX where it's like I think it's 4 points for first and 3 points for second and 2 points and 1 point, right? Idola did this Project Idola, which was Dr. D's tournament, did this really strange thing where first place got 1 point, second place got half a point, third place got a quarter of a point, and then fourth place got 0. So it mattered much more if you won rather than...
There was a lot of weight on first place.
Yeah, so it was a sliding scale. So I think KSC's... I like the... Like, I don't like that jump. I think that's ridiculous that you can double your points by...
Getting first,
basically. So I like the way... if KSC does do it the way that they have done it with other games in the past, then I think it'll be fine. But it is a good question to bring up. Hopefully just like sending them a bunch of questions. I mean, they have like English representatives. Like
this guy is like the English. He's pretty good with English. So I don't think that's a huge deal that I send in English.
He's probably confirming with people that speak Japanese and then having to write it like in English.
Yeah.
You guys got a liaison.
Yeah. We had Naoki Okada last year. It was very nice.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be there this year. Maybe he... There's other guys doing it. Midori.
Yeah, Midori. Maybe he's gonna be the
guy showing us around.
Yeah,
buying us Kokuichi Manya.
Yeah.
Oh, did that happen at the last?
Yeah. He bought us lunch the day of.
Yeah.
He was really nice.
I told him specifically. I was like, he was like very much like chaperoning and trying to like help us out, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna walk over to the Coco that's like 5 minutes away because I want a chicken katsu curry because not only is it my favorite meal in the universe, but also katsu is Japanese to win.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like a good luck charm thing. And he's like, oh yeah, like let's go, and I'm buying, and I'm like, you're gonna okay, sure, I thank you very much. You don't have to, like, I don't. It must be weird to have foreigners come to your wonderful country full of food and of all sorts of all different restaurants and sides. And I'm going to Coco Ichiban. It's like coming to America for a League of Legends tournament and getting like I really want McDonald's. Like that's all I'm getting. Sorry. So yeah, he was very everyone was very nice to us.
Oh, that's nice. I hope that happens again.
Yeah.
So this topic kind of fits in here. Phil Shanklin, Zello, asked on Twitter, like, how do you feel about the overall results and player attitudes towards the KAC qualifiers this year?
What do you mean,
like just how I guess how people in the U.S. maybe especially like felt about. Like, were they hyped up to play qualifiers? Like what'd you see from like your friends and everybody?
Yeah, so one thing I just didn't like about the qualifiers is that they released Group B halfway through.
Yeah.
Because like at the beginning, everyone's so hyped to play. Everyone's playing Group A, like they're getting nice scores. But then like halfway through, people like aren't as excited to play the qualifiers. So when Group B comes out, like a lot of people just didn't.
And it was like right around Christmas.
That's
it
the
was
biggest
around the holidays.
problem.
Like Group B was out for 19 days, and I was gone on vacation for like 15 days. So like, if it had mattered, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Like
I specifically planned my whole schedule this year around like I need to be home in California for the qualifiers because I'm gonna need all the time I can get. And like last year, there was like I went home for Christmas. There was MagFest.
Yeah, there was so much time last year because Group A and B came out.
Yeah. So even with that, even if I assumed, like I'm gonna have that, like as soon as Group A and Group B come out, like they're gonna come out at the same time right at the beginning, I still would have felt like I didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't schedule anything, but I can't imagine how people felt with only 19 days, most of which were like. I'm at home with. There's no machine near me. I'm with my family. Couldn't even go out to an arcade if I wanted to.
Yeah, that plus the fact that like people just didn't have a chance. Like you were number one for sure, and so like no one really like.
There wasn't as much grind as there was last year between, and there was fewer spots.
Yeah.
And I think so. If Group A and Group B came out like right off the bat, then I feel like there would be a lot more completely filled out scores.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it would have been nice if there were more spots to compete for, too.
That, too.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate thing, though.
Yeah.
This is a pretty interesting question from Zanzibar on Twitter. He's after you won last year, like what was the reaction from like your family and your friends that like might not follow like your accomplishments that closely, like not like dance game friends, but like maybe like coworkers? Like how did people react when you're like, oh yeah, I'm the best DDR player in the world?
So my coworkers who were around my age, they had a viewing party too, and like
nice.
they sent me a video while I was in Japan.
That's awesome.
Like of them all celebrating when I won, and that was pretty awesome. My family was watching too. They were all really excited for me. So yeah, it was.
It's cool to have like a...
Were they watching live? Your family?
Yeah, and my coworkers were watching live too.
Did you like show all your family the documentary?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I sent it to them like right the day it came
Yeah.
out.
I sent
check out this documentary.
My mom keeps texting me every time. She keeps watching it, and every time she watches it, she sends me a little text. She's like, "I keep watching it again. Miss you."
I watched it like a lot.
Yeah, I watched it like 10 times.
Yeah, I watched it like 10 times. It's so good.
It was a very good documentary.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions actually, so I don't think that we'll have time to get through all of them.
The good ones.
Yeah, just trying to pick out some good ones here. So Aaron Toplitsky on Twitter, YYR, asks, you seem to enjoy all kinds of music games. Do you have an all-time favorite or like top 3? And were there any that you didn't quite like as much?
I'd say the games that I've gotten the most involved in and like I've enjoyed the most would probably be DDR, Guitar Hero, and probably Sound Voltex right now. Like I'm pretty into Sound Voltex right now.
Yeah, so like I don't play Sound Voltex, so like where in comparison, like I see you post scores on Twitter, I'm like that looks insane, but like so where in comparison to like other US players and like other world players are you like at Sound Voltex?
So I think with respect to America, I think I'm among the top players in America.
Like how many
right
inf dams are there in
I don't know
in America?
But
There are a few at least.
Yeah.
I know like Drano, Carl.
So there's Inf and then there's Inf Halo. So like
Oh, I didn't know there was
is
just
that
one
new
above
in
that.
Heavenly Haven?
No, I think it's so there's 4 Inf courses, and so to get Inf done, all you need to do is pass one of them.
Oh.
But to get Inf Halo, you have to pass all 4 of them with above like a 97 average on each of the songs.
Jeez.
So,
Are you in Halo?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know how many American Inf Halos there are. I'm assuming like maybe like 10. I don't want to throw out a number. So like because I honestly do not know.
Is it one of those things where like overseas like people are like way better?
Okay, so
like,
Asia people are like insane. Like there's a huge skill gap between America and like Japan and Korea. Like,
Oh, wow.
It's huge. Like if you take like the best in America, that's like kind of average for like
it's like me and DDR compared to you and DDR.
Sure. But like the Korean, I don't know like what's in the water over in Korea, but they're all insane. Like or like the top is they're very very good. Like
They got a Sound Voltex in every street corner.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of machines, like especially in Korea. I know
Yeah.
it's huge there.
yeah, so
Have there been any like sort of like weird obscure music games that you kind of like that maybe you didn't get like super into them, but that you maybe played at a con or something?
I remember there was this Rock Band mini game that came out that I played for a while called Rock Band Blitz. It was downloadable from Xbox Live, and it was kind of like Amplitude where you could like switch the tracks. So it was like, you know, you get Amplitude,
yeah.
and it was like so there's 4 different tracks, one for guitar, drums, vocals.
Yeah, I
and so
remember
on.
that now.
I don't think
And
I've
you can
ever heard of
use the
this.
Xbox controller and you like it's just 2 buttons on each lane, and you switch back and forth. It's kind of like
Interesting.
I don't know. That was one obscure game that I played for a while, and I was getting the top scores on the leaderboards for that. I think that was like
Sweet.
2011, I think 2010. But yeah, that on the topic of obscure rhythm games. That's one.
So I wanted to pick this question because it's funny, and it has to do with the last episode, too. So now that you've PFC'd Egoism 440 Challenge, and Freestyle's alive again, when are we going to see a Freestyle Egoism 440 routine so that you can
I saw
finally
that.
own that song forever? This is from Kevin Turner on Twitter.
I mean, could I even pass egoism no bar? I mean,
It doesn't have to be a challenge.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it would have to be on beginner.
But it's like an 8 on beginner or something. It's got me breathing heavy.
Stamina 8.
Stamina 8.
Beginner.
You could do like a little tear, like from the eye, you know.
The lowercase BSP.
Lowercase.
B emoji SP.
Would you actually, serious question, would you ever consider doing a freestyle routine?
Freestyle I feel like it's
not
just
your thing?
not my thing. I feel like the way I move is too robotic and like not fluid. I feel like I'm designed to move in very precise ways. And so like
I have been built.
doing fluid dance movements and stuff just like
I mean,
doesn't
there's a
doesn't
move
compute
called
with
the
me.
robot. Isn't there?
Oh,
I can do the robot freestyle. Probably.
sick.
I play ITG and then put it on the robot note scan.
But like,
Yeah.
but like you gotta rate like EDC and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
like,
but I just like fist bump.
Yeah. just like throw the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. Just throw my hands in the air. I don't really like do anything.
I feel that.
Drano asked, do you prefer Japanese corn or American corn?
The corn in Japan was really.
Did you have the
good.
hot corn?
The corn soup. Remember we got the
absolutely,
corn soup in the vending machine?
I have it's in the vlog, man. You gotta check it
I
out.
love the hot corn.
It's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, we forgot to mention like for the Polygon doc, they like took segments out of your
Oh yeah, there was that whole segment that.
like chunks out of Jeff's like KC vlog.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
The whole come to life part was.
Yeah,
yours,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
There were so many people on YouTube asking what that song was.
Which
Yeah.
one? Come to
Come
life.
to Life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I pasted the link into every reply.
It's a good song.
it is a really good song.
So Alex Andrade on Twitter asks, like, you spend a lot of time studying and memorizing charts. So like when you're actually playing a chart that you've memorized, is the memory like your body, or it says is the memory kinesthetic and bodily, or do you have a visual memory of the chart? Like do the arrows scrolling mainly just help you with timing or memory as well?
It's a good question of like,
it's-
how do you memorize?
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of both. Muscle memory helps a lot, just already knowing like how you have to move, and then I guess I do like if I'm doing it blindfolded, like when my eyes are closed, I imagine the arrow scrolling as I'm doing it. Like I just picture the chart because it's kind of like just photographic memory where it's like scrolling, like I don't know.
Like-
I guess I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I mean like memory's a weird thing to try to explain
Well, so-
in words, I guess.
You also memorize like to accompany actually looking at the chart too, so not just blindfolded. Right?
Yeah, so even if I'm playing on stealth, so then I just I'm looking at the screen and I'm imagining the arrow scrolling in
The empty
proper
space.
order. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
empty space as if they were there.
So like how
So
long does it take you to memorize a chart? If a new 17 came out.
A brand new 17.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd probably take me like an hour and a half to memorize it, and then probably like
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so like when you want to memorize something, are you opening it in Stepmania and like, looking at it by chunk by chunk?
Yeah, and so I memorized the first measure, and then I play it, do it with my eyes closed, do it with my eyes closed, and like a bunch of times until I get that down. Okay, and now I look at the second measure, and then I do the exact same thing, play that measure over and over, and then play with my eyes closed and see if I can do that. And then
you go from the
and then I
beginning?
do 1 through 2, and then I get that down, and then I add in measure 3, and then I do the same process, and then I just iterate it for like an hour and a half.
Damn.
That's dedication.
It's a skill
man.
that you have to practice. For sure.
Yeah, I've like tried to even memorize like sections of charts before, and it would take me an hour and a half to memorize like the ending of like Max Period or something.
Yeah.
And I would probably still fuck it up. Like even memorizing the end of Vertex back in the day, it probably took me 3 hours to memorize like the 100 arrows or whatever it is at the end. It's like 50.
So when you first started doing this, like what was the first song that you tried to memorize?
I don't even.
Like, did you go straight for the boss songs or like?
No, I did some easy songs first. I think. I'm trying to remember the first thing I stealthed. It was just so long ago. I think I remember there was a video of me doing Sweet Sweet Magic stealth. I remember doing that stealth. I think I did Can't Stop Falling in Love stealth. The speed mix. That was a long time ago. Cartoon Heroes was.
Did it take you longer back then to memorize things compared to now?
I think back when I was stealthing things before, like I think it was just because I played it so many times that I could just do it. It wasn't one of those things where I was like, okay, I want to memorize this.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like I already had a lot of muscle memory, and then I just like sat down and just kind of filled in the gaps.
Gotcha.
And
Do you still remember charts? Like if you had to play Cartoon Hero Stealth right now, would you be able to do it, or is it?
No.
Do you think it's more like a temporal thing of like you memorize a chart because you want to get a really good score on it, and then like so that like sort of takes up your brain. You execute until you get it, and then like parts of it fade away.
Right. So if I do that, then that's just short-term memory.
Okay.
Like before tournaments, I'll do stuff like memorize the speed up of Roppongi D.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah. Same.
And so like I'll cram it in my short-term memory, so I'll be ready to play, or like Happy Lucky Yeppy or whatever. Like I'll memorize the ending before a tournament, just so I can just play it on a higher speed mod. But then like a few days after, it's just out of my head.
Yeah, I mean that happens to me, but I've never actually like deliberately memorized a chart before. So I mean I tried Max Unlimited once, but it was very bad. So like I'm not sure if like the process of like fully memorizing it and then playing it a bunch when you have memorized it, not for a tournament, but just because you want to.
Yeah.
Does that stay longer for you in your brain?
Like Revolution, for instance. Could you do that now?
I could not do that. That was short-term memory. Like
Oh.
it was so like a lot of the things I stealthed during Ace was I just want to see what I could get on stealth, and so I cram it in my short-term memory, and then I go to the arcade, and then I like try to get the best score I can, and then if I don't try to stealth it after that, then it just kind of fades away.
Okay.
It's like high school, just like
Exactly. Yeah, it's
cram
like
for the
cramming
test, and you just
Yeah.
like,
But there's things that stay in long-term memory, like Max Unlimited. Like that's in my long-term memory.
Okay.
So I mean, legit question. Like in school, were you really good at like memorizing stuff for like tests? Like, did you kind of do the same
In
thing?
math, yeah, but not for.
Not like history or
Yeah,
whatever.
I was pretty bad at the things that required like reading and like remembering facts and stuff like that. I was good at math because my brain is very computational, so like things like math came more naturally.
Yeah, and
to
I
me
guess
than-
like DDR steps is more like math than it is
Yeah.
remembering dates and
Yeah,
stuff.
math and music are kind of closely related
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Punk Rose on Twitter asks, if you could play DDR with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would you play with?
What are
and
these
why?
questions?
James is getting all the
I like
the goofy
These are
questions.
funny.
Yeah, I saw that one. I honestly like don't know.
Would you play with Yuichi?
Or Naoki?
play with Ariana Grande.
Oh, Captain
Oh,
Jack.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Captain Jack.
That's
rest in peace.
Probably
Rest
best
in peace.
reply.
Yeah.
And press F to pay respects, everyone, when you're watching this. I want to see the SoundCloud thing, and I want to see no comments on the video until this point right now where 30 people just press F.
So we kind of already talked about Sound Voltex, but Oliver was asking like when you were kind of like getting better at Sound Voltex, did you notice any synergy between Sound Voltex and DDR? Like, did faster than 200 BPM stuff on DDR become easier as a result of like stuff on Sound Voltex? Like how kind of the games interact with each other for you?
I have to say there's like not much similarity. I think the only thing that transfers is kind of like reading the 4 white buttons. It's kind of similar where it's kind of like
The spatial
the spatial thing. It kind of translates, but not really because you're playing spread. You're not alternating.
Yeah.
So when I was playing Stymania, I had no experience with playing spread. Like having just assigning 2 fingers to these 2 arrows and then just like playing.
Yeah.
So that's like the only similarity, but besides that, like they're pretty different.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people who have played dance games before and like try and play Sound Voltex, like that is the easiest part. Is that like it's like, oh, it's 4 lanes, like it's Stepmania, but just with like flat notes. Like so I think like anybody who's played DDR, ITG, or whatever can like get at least a couple levels into Sound Voltex before the knobs start getting really fucked up.
Right, yeah, and it's just the rhythm it obviously translates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just knowing how to hit certain rhythms.
So this question actually got a lot of votes. It's from Steve's username on Twitter, and he asked, what is the lowest point in your DDR career, and how did you move past it?
Maybe. Well, I don't know if my DDR career, but in ITG and 4 Rapid 6, I didn't make it to top 8.
Damn.
So
was that Space War or
no? That was the 4 Rapid 6 was the year before.
Oh, okay.
So that was 2012.
Yeah.
2012.
And what happened?
I just performed pretty poorly. That was the summer that I was only playing DDR Supernova at the local arcade. I wasn't practicing. I couldn't practice IG. I didn't have a machine around me, so I was just AAAing the game on on Supernova. So and then I went to Fort Rapids to compete, and I did pretty bad. Did pretty poorly. Didn't make top 8, which was kind of humiliating for me.
Did it motivate you to work harder for the next one?
Oh yeah. So then the next year Fort Rapids,
You won the whole thing.
I won that one. I was like,
That's awesome.
I lost, and then the next one I decided to win instead.
I think that's good life advice.
That basically sums it up.
But I mean, like, I think a lot of people kind of, I mean, that's a good lesson for people, is that, like, some people may have lost and gotten really discouraged, but, like, instead you took that and you used it as motivation to, like, get better. So I think that's something everybody can learn from.
We're a very wholesome crew here on tap.
Trying to get some life lessons here for y'all.
I saw one. So Omar on Twitter also asked. There was a brief discussion about this on Discord. They were wondering if you had experiences with DDR-related injuries and what steps you could take.
Actually,
I know this is
a side note. I do eventually want to have like an injuries episode. Like,
I could go on and on.
And I think Chris should be here for that one. We might need to bring him back for that episode.
Injuries up.
Specifically just for injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, do we want to hold off on that question for a future whole episode?
I'm very injury prone.
I think we can answer like really quickly. Okay. We can go in depth later maybe. But
What
are different things that I've injured, or
yeah,
like how do you prevent it from happening, or like
you don't.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, how do you not injure
Chris would love to know.
Yeah, you tell me that.
Yeah, you tell me that. You play London Evolved, was it C?
I played, oh my god.
And then injured his shin so bad.
Tell us what happened.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about London C. So this was in November. I was just trying to PFC it, and at the end, there's the, quote, Scooby patterns where you have to turn sideways and, like, whip your body around, but I don't mess.
He doesn't roll that way.
I don't do all that.
I don't fuck with Scoobies.
I don't do all that. So I double step everything very vigorously. And you can see the video on YouTube from that day that I injured myself. You can see how wild the double stepping is. But I played that song for like an hour straight with like no break. And so every time I was going really hard, like shuffling my feet and double stepping, like very, aggressively for the ending. And then afterwards I was like, oh my God, like my shin kills right now. And I like did not listen to my body at all. Like I was like, I'm going to PFC this. Like I don't even care.
Okay, and then I remember after that.
Would you recommend like other people like, hey, if something hurts, stop?
Yes.
So I remember after that incident, you went to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you told the doctor and what he said to you.
I'm trying to remember the exact visit, but I mean I know how these visits go in general. I know exactly.
He's been around the block.
I've done this before. I explain them. I explain them with DDRs. I like show them videos. Like this is what I do, and like this is how.
There's a documentary that I was in.
Why are you doing that?
You just like bring your plaque with you.
And then they tell me to stop playing. I was like, no, I can't.
No. You don't understand.
They never understand.
Just give me the good stuff, Doc.
Exactly. They always tell me to rest, and I'm like, no.
I'm gonna take painkillers instead. So give me the strongest morphine you got.
Yeah. So that day punished me for a month because that's how long I was out.
And so you couldn't. We had a tournament,
and that was when.
I won! Yay!
And that injury came 5 days before there was the San Jose tournament.
Yeah,
and that was when you got really into quick drop. Right?
Yeah,
that's the over the quick drop.
Me laying down next to a pile of tickets.
that was fun.
At least something good came of it. Yeah, what'd you get with all your tickets?
I actually still have my. I think I have like 90,000 tickets.
Jesus Christ!
I have like almost 2 PS4s on my.
That round 1 card is legendary right now.
Do not lose that.
So the question was about like how to prevent it. Like, does that mean that now, whenever you find yourself like going toward an injury, you stop?
Yeah. So one thing I do to mitigate that risk is just not playing every day. I give myself at least a day or two rest, no matter what. I always listen to my body a little bit more now.
Sometimes you can't tell until you've like stopped
until
playing,
you stop playing. So I've learned to be very self-conscious, like self-aware of like I'm always assessing like, does this hurt? Like, does something on my body hurt right now?
Imagine Chris waking up in the morning and like slapping his arm and being like, does that hurt?
I meant
shaking his leg. Does this hurt?
I meant while I'm playing.
No, I know. I like to imagine this. This is the scenario. I'm just like you're eating a burger and you like slap your knee. You're like, oh, now that felt normal. We're okay.
Yeah, but I'm doing that like while I'm playing, just constantly assessing, just because sometimes you get kind of carried away and like, or at least me, I get carried away.
Look at the adrenaline too.
Yeah, and I just start going off and like forgetting about my physical like being. And,
that's why we play.
Yeah, and so
love to go off.
So I don't injure myself as bad as the time I injured my shin. So, but things do come up. Like,
didn't you go on like a sound vortex bender for like 24 hours?
Oh yeah, and
then your hand hurt.
Yeah, and so then I injured myself in sound vortex too.
You're like, playing me a game I can't possibly hurt myself on.
All right, this is not a helpful conversation.
It's good.
Yeah, we could go on.
Are you a hand blader? Is that how you hurt yourself?
No, it was doing
Blastics rights.
256 drills. For like,
you gotta see the gif that's happening in the making right now.
Shit.
Chris pretending to play Blastics Riot.
God, those are some of my favorite like videos. Is like people at tournaments like just there's one where like Spurgeon at MagFest or something
where they're just like I swear there's so many videos of me surfing like
there's even that like you and Hudson in the documentary are like standing there like on the rail like fucking.
Oh yeah, they got a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, shadowing.
I think one of the things I've learned by hanging out with Chris is that I can't be near him when there's music playing that's really good, because all of a sudden I'm just standing there like we're at like a concert. We saw Jackassid together in San Francisco, and I'm just like standing there, I'm kind of grooving in the music, and all of a sudden I just get on the back of my shoulder. I'm like, ow, this hurts.
I remember at Jackassid, Chris going up to people and saying, "There's a slow down."
It's a slow down.
Coming up, and I'm like, Chris, I know. We all play Stepmania. We all know this.
Dude, I live for the half speed slow down.
Oh my god. Or you like, it's just like a wild like 12th, like it breaks into 12th notes. You just see Chris's face, just like, whoa.
Dude, I do the same shit, but like anytime I hear like a 12th note breakdown in songs, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
the ride the key change.
The ride the basses.
The ride the bass.
The ride the basses.
This song's just like Ride the Bass. And speaking of Ride the Basses, what was do you remember me? Was that the hype?
Remember You, Hype the Fuck John.
Yeah.
Oh. That video is legendary.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Oh, that was me just messing around. Like
I played Remember You yesterday, twice.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs to play.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just gonna make this more interesting, and I'm gonna see if I can gallop into every single arrow.
I think you added more steps than there are actually in the song.
Yeah, I made it like a solid like flashing 10.
A nice ace 14.
That's some good shit. Yeah. We got a bunch of questions about sort of like technique and like approaching the game sort of stuff, but one from Desley was if my goal is to PFC harder charts, is it more valuable to only go for like PFCable charts or like to play harder stuff and improve my skills? And already addressed, I know that play everything will come up, but I have a limited time to play and want to get the most out of my sessions. So like, like if you're trying to PFC like 16 or 15s, for example, like should you really only play 15s that you think you can PFC, or like should you play harder stuff too?
I don't know. I know like when I'm learning, I'll be in this difficulty range, or let's say like 14, like so you want to like PFC like a 15 or something.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll try to find the easiest 15. That's what I do. So Romancing Layer, and then I'll practice Romancing Layer a bunch. Like I'll play it until I can get the highest score I can, like in that session, and then I might move on to maybe something harder, and then because I guess it's hard to explain like on the spot, but if you can get slightly better at harder songs, then the easier songs will become
even easier. Yeah.
Like, so you'll have an easier time with those songs.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like an iteration where you go back and forth between easier and more difficult. Like that's what I do in Sound Voltex right now. Like I'll play like I'll stay in the 17 range, and then I'll challenge myself with like 19s. And then when I'm challenging myself with 19s a lot, when I go back to 17s, they'll be a lot easier and I can score better on them. So I'm sure the same thing translates to DDR or any rhythm game, really.
Yeah, just try and vary it up. Like, play a 14, 15, and 16 or something, or kind of whatever. If you're going for 15s, like play 14, 15, 16 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
playing around that range will not hurt, I think.
And that's what I want to clarify. That's what I mean when I say play everything. It means, and I like you can play a song a couple times in a row, but I think people get fixated on like, you try to play Romancing Layer, let's say, and you get a 991, and then you get a 992, and then you get a 986, right? And you're just like, okay, the PFC's not happening like today, and that's fine. Like, break off, do some other things, especially harder things, and then the easy like Romancing Layer will become easier.
Yeah.
Like it's very tempting to just stick at what you're good at, and you may say, like, oh, I have a 992 on Romancing Layer, so the PFC is close, but if you can only get that, and you can't, like, every other 15 you get, like, below a 970k or something, then, you're going to optimize for one song, and then you're going to not be able to translate that into anything else. And that, I think, is the bigger problem, because then, if you do PFC Romancing Layer, you're going to say, great, what's next? And then you're going to have to repeat this really long iterative process rather than like doing things that will just make everything easier instead.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I do. I know that we have opposite play styles. I pick a song and then I just play it as much as I can until I get the highest score I think I can.
Right. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
But you're like at the level where you can do that.
That's
like
the difference.
Yeah. So like, but for people that are kind of coming up, the difficulty scale.
They don't know like what they could possibly do, or like...
well, just that.
So like people like if your end goal is to PFC Romancing Layer, and you think you're capable of like a 991. So I'm gonna play it until I think I can until I get that 991. Okay, now I can move on to the next thing and practice. I think the key is like optimizing, like getting the highest score you can get before moving on.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Yeah. What I mean, like when I'm preaching play everything, it's not necessarily because I follow that, because I think with me and Chris, it's much different at the top when you have like such a small number of perfects that you can grind off, and you're just gonna have to play it 100 times before you get a better score.
Yeah.
But there are much easier, there's a skill progression that is like a logarithmic curve of basically you get really good really fast so long as you do play things that are varied, and then it tapers off at the top, and that's when the grind really starts to happen. I think people look at me and Chris and they say, well, he has to play Egoism 440 Challenge 500 times. By the way, do you know how many times you've played it? I really am curious.
It's in the 300s.
Okay, 300 times to PFC it, right? So I must need to do that to PFC the 15 that I want to PFC. But that's like they're not equivalent.
Not necessarily.
They're completely different scenarios. And so but people look at good players for advice. And so I think that's why I try to like steer the conversation in a certain way. Be like, don't look at what I'm doing. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Like, this guy does weird things because he has to, but like you have a lot of skill that you can build and grow on. And
yeah, it's very different depending on where on the curve you are.
Exactly.
Going up. Yeah.
You want to basically just keep like going along that curve, and you don't want to get stuck anywhere. And eventually, you are going to get stuck because that's what happens.
Getting better at other charts will naturally get you better at this one chart that you wanted.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think you can agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, Jeff said it 8,000 times on this show.
Apparently, I got to say it again.
You did clarify though.
Yeah.
You don't mean literally. I mean, like you before.
I don't mean playing Sorry, it's a now like funny thing for me. I don't mean play 19s when you can't pass 15s. That's never what I mean. It's that yes, egoism is part of everything, but it doesn't. I'm not telling you to play that. I'm just saying, people don't get fixated on the same charts that you love that you're good at, because you'll never improve if you stick in your comfort zone. Right. It's more of a comfort zone thing.
I agree.
Okay, well, we're going quite long, so we'll move on to
Yeah, you want to do tap set of the week?
yeah. So last episode rather, we had our special guest John Chaos pick song Ben Brinkar. We had I picked iFuturelist, and Jeff had
What'd I pick?
Taj He Spits.
Oh yeah, Taj He Spits. Tommy Sunshine's Brooklyn Fire remix.
Yeah, that was really hard to fit into the graphic because that
Yeah. It's like the longest subtitle in the universe.
It's so long.
It barely fits on.
Confirmed
on the
by
ACI
scientists.
tiny
Yeah.
text.
Yeah, so we had some people play this week who sent in their scores. Polyrath, ALE, Lance of X, Pika Boy, Tung Jung Yantham, Third Irony, Alexor, Feelings Won't Fade. It's a local player, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Wicked Fedora and Kunal Des. So thank you for everybody who's playing. Before we forget, I keep forgetting to plug. We always forget. You can follow us on Twitter at SF_evolve.
Oh, we used to do that all the time.
Yeah, and we've kind of forgot lately. So, and then we have a Discord, which is like our pinned tweet. You can join the SF Evolve Discord and talk to other dance game players. Like a bunch of us are in there. Talk about dance games and memes and all sorts of fun things. What other? We got YouTube.
Got our YouTube channel. You go back and check out our video podcast series, episodes 1 through 9, I think, or 1 through 8.
Maybe.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
We're videos, and we've got some other cool stuff up there. We have tournament footage from the last autumn tournament at Round 1 San Jose. The finals and semifinals.
Yeah, and hopefully
up there.
we'll be able to get the Genesis stuff up on there after this weekend.
Follow our Twitch. Same thing, twitch.tv/SF_evolves, right?
Mhm.
Underscore?
Yeah, underscore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're the underscore everywhere. So yeah, follow that so that you can watch the Genesis tournament if you're not going to be there. But if you're going to be there, then say hi to us instead. In
Yes.
person.
So yeah, thanks for everybody who sent in their scores. You can send it in with hashtag tap set of the week. We post the graphic on Twitter whenever the episode goes up. So you can find it by the song jackets.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Which is helpful.
Yes.
The songs are in Japanese.
yeah, and things like that.
We got some weebs on the couch here tonight.
Yeah. So Chris, you want to kick us off with your suggestion for this week's tap set of the week?
Yeah.
Egoism.
No. This week I'll pick Elemental Creation. It's one of my favorite songs in the game. And it has a really pop difficult chart, which is a 14.
Nice.
Thought I'd plug that one.
Yeah, I think we were talking 2 weeks ago about the Reach the Sky difficult chart, which is also 14.
Yeah, there's a lot of good difficult stuff.
Yeah, I think
Reach the Sky
yeah.
difficult. Oh man.
It's very good.
So good.
So yeah, play expert, challenge, difficult, whatever you want, whatever sounds most fun.
So my choice is Private Eye. It's a nice chill 12. Nice song from X3.
It's pretty easy to MFC, like comparatively. I
Yeah.
know that's like a lot of first MFCs for people.
Pretty on sync.
Yeah. So it's a good chart.
And my choice is I actually don't know what the name is. It's the kneeso song. It's like 185 BPM.
Do you want me to say the name?
Yeah, just say the name.
Oh, I just had it. It's Totsugeki. Shit.
See what we mean about Japanese songs.
How does it go again?
What mixes it from?
I'm not gonna try to. It's from 2014. Yeah, it's one of the unlocks from 20. It's Totsugeki Glass no kneeso hime. So it's kneeso
It's
being
purple, right?
knee socks. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
wearing like knee socks
Yeah.
in the jacket.
And it's like 185 BPM, and I like the 14 a lot, but of course you can play any chart you want. It's good practice for drills, which I'm bad at drills, so I like playing it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had some questions about drills that we didn't get to. So play that song, practice drills.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how to do drills, please.
Yeah.
So I think of drills a little differently. Like I feel like drills are very fast, and towers are like 16th notes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel like there's a difference? Like I like if it's like 180 like 16ths, I would call them towers.
You would call that a tower?
tower, but if it's a drill, it's like
I thought towers were like in egoism, like after the base kick, where it's
yeah,
like,
those are towers.
Well, but it's not. Oh, that's interesting. So they're not necessarily on 2 arrows, is what you're saying.
I mean, they are for a while, and then it switches.
So I think
not that.
both of these things are on both these things are on 2 arrows.
Oh, okay.
It's just that I feel like towers has the connotation of being slower. Like they're more like 16ths, and drills are more like 24s or 30s.
I think your towers and drills are my drills and trills.
Yeah.
What?
Trills are like
like slick.
Yeah, Slick has trills.
That's drill. Okay, so there's a communication gap.
No, I mean, that's you call it whatever the fuck you want.
Drills.
Yeah, everybody has their own terms.
And towers are like Horatio. Horatio is towers.
I thought towers was like when you have a drill of like my definition of a drill, and then it switches to another two set of arrows, like egoism, like it's like it switches between those two arrows.
Broken, sorta. Yeah.
That's what I thought towers were.
We got like a SF Evolved lexicon.
Yeah.
I
we need a wiki.
don't know. Maybe that
no,
is
I
the
think
case.
you call it whatever you want. Like that's everyone just
It was just
call
interesting
everything.
when you said drills, because I just looked at it.
What about like Chaos Eater?
Chaos Eater?
It's two tens.
See,
that's
they're
what's
probably
crossing
we're
the
both
line.
drills, right?
See, that's
like
what's crossing.
they're
that's
fast
where
for me, but slow for you.
It's like they're kind of fast.
Oh wait, no,
to be
that
drills,
never mind.
but they're kind of. They could be towers.
It's a drill.
No,
I don't know,
they're
like-
2/10/16, Chris.
It's a drills.
That's almost as fast as it
You can only you can
and
either
they're
play the chart or
towers.
talk about the chart. You
Egoism's towers.
can't do both.
Can't do both.
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
It's like a connotation. It's like where do you draw the line? It's just
Yeah.
For me, it's if it's fast, it's drills, and then if it's slow, it's towers.
I call them bursts even, I guess. Like Slick has 30-second
Oh,
bursts.
those are bursts.
I think the bursts have to be less than like 4 notes.
Yeah. Bursts.
It's like 4 or less. Like
like
egoism has 24th bursts in the
Yeah.
slowdown.
That's true. Like
Those-
10, like yeah.
Or like
Those aren't
dopamine.
drills.
The brr.
Yeah. Dopamine has bursts, little 24th
yeah.
bursts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burst.
We'll come
Interesting
up.
distinctions.
Yeah.
Terminology.
It's fun. It's fun.
burst. Anyway,
Burst the Grappy.
Oh, what a good song. Shame it got removed.
doesn't have any bursts.
It doesn't.
All right.
Drills
Anyway,
or trills.
We digress.
I think that's all we got for the show tonight. I guess just a reminder, we've already talked about it a bunch, but Genesis is this coming weekend, Saturday, and the following Saturday is Freestyle Takeover. So see you guys there.
And thanks, Chris, for joining the show tonight.
Thanks
It was
for
my
joining.
pleasure.
We'll have you on again soon.
Yeah.
for the injury.
Yeah, we're
episode.
gonna talk about the injury episode. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening, and
Thank
you for playing.